40,000 families we've helped get out of the timeshare.
Hey, welcome in. Thursday edition, Bruce Hooley Show. Glad to have you along. Yes, we're going to get to the Kamala interview, the breaking news of the morning, and other items related to education, locally, nationally. So excited to have you with us, and let's lock in for hour number one. In commercial, waiting for the band to play the intro music. Sounds like they're ready. Here we go. Welcome in, Thursday edition, Bruce Hooley Show. Glad to have you along. There's good news at the top of the show today. Yes, I know. Kamala Harris was not great in her interview last night with Bret Baier. I'm being charitable. I'd be interested to know, what word would you say best describes Kamala Harris last night in her interview with Bret Baier? I would say evasive. I would say chippy. The word of the day, like Bill O'Reilly used to say, word of the day in the national media is testy. It was a testy interview, which tells you what a great job Bret Baier did interviewing her, because if there were any wiggle room for the left to criticize Bret Baier, they would be doing it. But they are not. So he artfully dodged her dodging and held her to account on myriad issues, none of which will help her with independence. And that's who last night's interview was meant to reach, independent voters. So we'll get into that. We'll play sound from that. I'll offer you my analysis of what she had to say. But we start with the breaking news. The IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces, are raising the distinct probability, they say high probability, that Yahya Sinwar, the architect of the October 7th attacks from Gaza into Israel that slaughtered 1,200 Jews and took over 200 hostages, including 40 plus Americans that you never hear about, 5 of whom I believe are still in the custody of Hamas in the tunnels somewhere. IDF reporting there's a high probability that a shootout this morning has resulted in the death of Yahya Sinwar, which would be fantastic news. Grim pictures show what appears to be a corpse resembling Sinwar lying on a pile of rubble with a catastrophic head wound and injuries all over his body. This happened during an IDF firefight in the Gaza Strip that killed 3 terrorists. They are trying to confirm that one of them is Sinwar. The IDF was there. They saw the terrorists, one of whom looked like Sinwar. And so if it is indeed him, fantastic. If it is not him, the words of the IDF in the aftermath of this incident will certainly prove true at some point. And those words are this: today is a day of closing accounts and a message to all terrorists. We will haunt you until your last day anywhere on the globe. Indeed. Yahya Sinwar, right about now, is saying, I was told there would be virgins. Where are the virgins? No virgins, but we do have a hot tub filled with burning sulfur for you. Now, as for the Kamala Harris interview, this is how it began. First of all, she showed up late. Bret Baier, after the interview, referred to Harris showing up late. Supposed to be there at 5 p.m. I misspoke yesterday when I said the interview would air live. It did not air live. They were going to tape it at 5 p.m. Eastern time after she had a rally in Pennsylvania. They were going to go 30 minutes. They were going to then turn it around and put it on at the top of Special Report after they went through the headlines. So she shows up 15 minutes late, and then her staff says, well, maybe 20 minutes, not 30, maybe 20. So they were already trying to go back on, break their word to Bret Baier and to Fox. He never really got to inflation, which I was disappointed in, because, you know, one of the questions I wanted him to ask was, you're always banging on Trump for his tariffs, claiming it's a 20% tax on all Americans. Inflation is a 20+% tax on all Americans. It's a regressive tax, meaning those who make the least amount of money still have to pay it. Usually tax rates are graduated. The more you make, the more you have to pay. The higher rate you have to pay. Not so with inflation. Everybody pays the same price increase, which is a compilation of inflation, not only from year to year, 5% one year, 6% the next year, 5% the next year. That's 16% inflation over 6 years. For Biden, it's over 20 when you factor in the drop in real wages. He never got to that because she filibustered or attempted to throughout the interview. You don't need any greater evidence of that than his first question and her first non-answer.
You know, voters tell pollsters all over the country and here in Pennsylvania that immigration is one of the key issues that they're looking at this election, and specifically the influx of illegal immigrants from more than 150 countries. How many illegal immigrants would you estimate your administration has released into the country over the last 3.5 years?
Okay, so you have the question, right? How many would you estimate you've released into the country over the last 3.5 years? I didn't think it was a great question. I didn't like the ending of the question. Then I thought through and I thought, okay, he's trying to get her to admit we've allowed this many into the country. Here's her the question. So you listen for the answer. How many illegal immigrants would you say you've allowed into the country over the last 3.5 years? Does she answer the question?
Well, I'm glad you raised the issue of immigration
I
because
bet.
I agree with you. It is a topic of discussion that people want to rightly have, and you know what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, but
right
do you,
now,
just a
which
number.
is-
Do you think it's 1 million, 3 million?
So he did know what she was going to talk about, and she was going to blame it on Trump, and she was going to go to this fantasy border bill that, oh, if Donald Trump hadn't intervened, it didn't have the votes from Senate Republicans to pass. There is a border bill that passed the House and has been sitting on Joe Biden's desk since early in his presidency called H.R. 2, which would have put teeth into the border bill, would have built the wall, would have brought, excuse me, real substantive change on the border. They totally ignore H.R. 2. It's like it never happened because Chuck Schumer won't bring it up for a vote. Yeah, Brett Baer knows what she's going to do, and she continues to do it here, which is filibuster and not answer what he asked.
Brett, let's just get to the point. Okay, the point is that we have a broken immigration system that needs to be repaired.
So your
And-
Homeland Security Secretary said that
Well, no,
85% of apprehensions.
I'm not finished. We have
It's a
an
rough
immigration
estimate of
system
6 million people
that
have
needs
been
to be-
released into the country. And let me just finish. I'll get to the question. I promise you.
I was beginning to answer.
And when you
No, you weren't beginning to answer. You were filibustering. You were going to do the best you could to make 20 minutes feel like 2 minutes because you were going to stall and stall and stall and stall. Here's Baer afterward talking about the tone that the interview took right off the top and what he was trying to prevent.
I left there right after the interview, and I thought, wow, this was really a lot more contentious than I thought. It was. There was a lot of filibustering. I didn't really want to keep on interrupting, but if I didn't, I thought there were maybe be 4 answers total in the interview.
He's not wrong about that. There would have been. She would have gone on and on and on, spouting her utter word salad nonsense. Now, the next question, second question, he stays on immigration, and he does what nobody's done before. Refer specifically to Laken Riley, Ruby Garcia, Jocelyn Nungry, the victims of the illegal aliens that she has allowed into the country. She's the border czar. They don't want to say she's the border czar. She's the border czar. They trumpeted her as the border czar. Oh, she's going to get to the bottom of this migration from the Northern Triangle. Oh, she's going to stem the flow. She didn't stem the flow. She turned the faucet on more. So here's Baer pressing that with her.
Jocelyn Nungary, Rachel Morin, Laken Riley, they are young women who were brutally assaulted and killed by some of the men who were released at the beginning of the administration, well before a negotiated bipartisan bill. Former President Clinton actually referred to Laken Riley Sunday campaigning for you in Georgia, saying if those men had been properly vetted, Laken Riley probably would not have been killed. So if it wouldn't have happened, this is well before any negotiation. This is well before Donald Trump got involved in the politics. This is a specific policy decision by your administration to release these men into the country. So what I'm saying to you, do you owe
Brett,
those
I think it's
families
really, I think,
an apology?
let me just say, first of all,
He did a great job not letting her interrupt. He finished his question. Do you owe them an apology? Of course, yes. Of course, yes. Will she say that?
of all, those are tragic cases. There's no question about that. There's no question about that. And I can't imagine the pain that the families of those victims have experienced for a loss that should not have occurred. So that is true. It is also true that if a border security had actually been passed 9 months ago, it would be 9 months that we would have had more border agents at the border, more support for the folks who are working around the clock trying to hold it all together.
Madam Vice President.
She's filibustering.
No future harm would occur. And this election in 20 days will determine whether we have a president of the United States who actually cares more about fixing a problem, even if it is not to their political advantage in an election, because there was a solution, Brett.
She won't apologize. She's not going to apologize. It shouldn't have happened. Yeah, doggone right it shouldn't have happened. It happened because of your border policies. It happened because you threw the border wide open. And she does not have the humanity to apologize to the people who've lost girls and women because of it.
Sunshine, a little bit warmer this afternoon. The high today 61. Clear, chilly night tonight. A couple of frosty spots in the area, low 38. And then sunny for tomorrow, the high at 70. Sunny and warm on Saturday, the high Saturday afternoon, 75.
The Border Patrol Union for support of that bipartisan bill, and they did. During that time, you said repeatedly that the border was secure. When in your mind did it start becoming a crisis?
I think we've had a broken immigration system transcending, by the way, Donald Trump's administration even before. Let's all be honest about that. I have no pride in saying that this is a perfect immigration system. I've been clear, I think we all are, that it needs to be fixed. I was just down at the border talking with border agents.
Why do you talk so high when you know you've been caught?
I know you investigate and you are a serious journalist.
Oh, phony compliments.
They will tell you we need more judges. We need to process those cases faster. We need the support for those cases that should be prosecuted. They need more resources, and Congress ultimately is the only place that's going to get fixed, Brett. Well, that's how the system works.
That's the premise of this question. There were 90-plus executive orders that were rescinded in the first days. Many of those were Trump border policies. I'm not going to stay here because there's other things to talk about, but you frequently talk to the Border Patrol Union for support of that bipartisan bill, and they did. They supported it. But they also just endorsed Donald Trump and said, you've been, quote, a failure with border security.
For prisoners,
every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access.
So are you still in support of using taxpayer dollars to help prison inmates or detained illegal aliens to... During that time, you said repeatedly that the border was secure. During that time...
Can't pay their bills? Well, this economy is slowly moving into uncertain territory. That's why more Christians are turning to gold just for their peace of mind. I'm Lance Wallman, Christian news analyst with a 30-year track record of predicting trends. The Bible tells us that gold is a time-tested store of value that can protect your God-given assets through almost anything, including America's historic debt bubble. And here's the good news. You can own gold through your 401k or IRA. My friends at Birch Gold Group can help you buy gold for your retirement account, tax-free and penalty-free. To learn more, text the word faith to 989898 for an info kit for Birch Gold that's entirely free, zero cost or obligation. Text that next step right now and take it. Text faith to the number 989898 for your free info kit. That's faith to 989898.
Hold off on purchasing your first order from Balance of Nature because I've got some information you need to hear. If you go to balanceofnature.com, their popular fruit and veggies supplements, a discount offer will pop up. It may say 20 or 25% off your first order. Don't click that because if you use my code, you'll get 35% off your first order, plus free shipping. Now, my special promo code is Mike G. Use my code and save big. Here's another bonus. Balance of Nature has has a risk-free money-back guarantee. So go ahead and find out for yourself what so many of us already know. There's no other product out there like Balance of Nature when it comes to fruit and veggie supplements. Whether you order online or call them direct, use the promo code MikeG and you'll get this special offer of 35% off and free shipping. Just call 800-246-8751, 800-246-8751. Use the discount code MikeG or order online, balanceofnature.com. Use the discount code MikeG to get 35% off.
So I got the numbers yesterday on ticket sales to the October 22nd, which is Tuesday night, by the way, Battleground Talkers Tour at Genoa. We are over 600. So kudos to you, because the last time we had this event, I thought we had a really full house and we had 600. That was on a weekend. So in the middle of a week, this shows me that you guys care enough about this upcoming election that you want to hear from Salem radio hosts like Hugh Hewitt and Mike Gallagher. May have a special edition late. We got a big name yesterday of a politician. I don't know if I'm greenlit yet to tell you who that is, but it's a big name. Trust me. So you want to be in the house. Get your general admission tickets for $5. $5. We can accommodate a lot more people. We've already sold more tickets than any event in the country. It's going to be fantastic. I'll be there. Jack Windsor will be there. We'll be speaking on stage. We'll be interviewing state politicians. And, well, I just can't tell you the secret. Okay, but if you'd like a VIP ticket, use the promo code Bruce25 and get a VIP ticket, preferred seating, food, and a meet and greet with those who will speak. Genoa Christian Fellowship, October 22nd. Get your tickets, 9890answer.com. We led the show yesterday with the news that the Columbus City Schools Board of Education was going to begin the process of closing schools. 8 months after, I found a headline saying that the incoming president of the Columbus Board of Education was going to have to confront closing schools. And about, 75 headlines of developments that have happened since then. They were going to begin 8 months afterward. Nana Watson is the head of the NAACP in Columbus. She is not a big fan of that beginning. She tells WSYX Channel 6's website that she is also not a fan of hiring a consultant from out of state. She said, it's my hope they cast a wider net, but if there wasn't anyone in Columbus to do that, I guess that's the way it is. She says, maybe this consultant can bring this back together for the district because it is about the children. The longer this goes, the harder it is on the students and on the parents. Yeah, the other part of this story that jumped off the page at me, during the presentation from the consultant on Monday night, this guy from Austin, Texas, who they won't say how much they're paying. I'll just quote right from the story. During the presentation, it was suggested that board members physically visit the 9 schools on the list of possible closures. So that means they have been talking about closing schools, 20, whittled it down to 9. They never visited any of the buildings? Like, can you say dereliction of duty? There you go. That's dereliction of duty. Now, we'll have ample evidence of dereliction of duty if Kamala Harris ever becomes president. God forbid that. We're 19 days away from the November 5th election. Vote early. Don't wait until the day. Get out and vote early. You want to stop the annoying texts you're getting about voting and voting for this candidate and voting for that candidate? Go vote early because they check those lists. And if you voted, they're not going to be bothering you anymore. So Brett Baer back on the immigration topic with Kamala Harris. Question 3, she hasn't answered question 1 or question 2. Let's see if she answers question 3 relative to immigration.
During that time, you said repeatedly that the border was secure. When in your mind did it start becoming a crisis?
I think we've had a broken immigration system transcending, by the way, Donald Trump's administration even before. Let's all be honest about that.
When her voice goes high, it's a tell.
And saying
She's
that this
caught.
is a perfect immigration system, I've been clear. I think we all are.
Well, we are.
That it needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
We need more. I was just down at the border
So
talking
what?
with border agents, and they will tell you. And I'm sure you probably, I know you investigate, and you are a serious journalist.
Phony compliment.
They will tell you we need more judges.
Insincere.
We need to process those cases faster. We need the support for those cases that should be prosecuted.
Filibustering.
They need more resources, and Congress ultimately is the only place that that's going to get fixed.
Nope.
Brad.
Well,
That's how the system works.
That's the premise of this question.
but
There were
that's how the
90
system
plus
works.
executive orders that were rescinded in the first days.
Thank
Many
you.
of those were Trump border policies. I'm not going to stay here because
That's right. There are 90 plus executive orders. He's not anybody's buffoon. He didn't come to shine her shoes. He's not Stephanie Rule. He's not Howard Stern. He's not The View. He's not Dana Bash. He's there to ask questions and get answers. And the more she won't answer, the more he's going to interrupt and ask her questions. So like he said, I'm not going to stay here forever because obviously, like he said before, his interview technique is that of a good interviewer, which is, okay, you're not going to get an answer like you can beat a dead horse, or you can move on and try to get something on another topic, which is what he did. And I thought it was very interesting. The next topic he went to was transgender surgeries. Told you the horrific story, the California couple murdered by a dude who then petitioned the state of California when Kamala Harris was Attorney General that he wanted to have the state pay for his sex reassignment surgery. And she greenlit it. And she went around, had people come in from around the country. Hey, this needs to be done nationwide. Taxpayers need to pay for sex reassignment surgery. She's advocated it for illegal aliens. So Brett Baer, he serves a Fox audience. It's not a popular position with any sane human being. Asked her about it last night by playing a clip that she participated in before. A clip I played for you the other day from some dude in a dress talking about her support for transgender surgeries for prisoners.
this particular one from the Trump campaign has gotten a lot of attention.
Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners.
Surgery.
For prisoners.
For prisoners. Every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access.
So are you still in support of using taxpayer dollars to help prison inmates or detained illegal aliens to transition to another gender?
I will follow the law. And it's a law that Donald Trump actually followed.
Not an answer. Not an answer.
You're probably familiar with, now it's a public report, that under Donald Trump's administration, these surgeries were available to on a medical necessity basis.
Notice she doesn't say that they actually happened under Trump, just that they were in the law and they were available, because they did not happen under Trump. And she knows that. And she is parsing her words, lying to hide what she would do compared to what Trump did do, or in this case, did not do.
To people in the federal prison system. And I think, frankly, that ad from the Trump campaign is a little bit of like throwing, stones when you're living in a glass house.
The Trump aides say that he never advocated for that prison policy and no gender transition surgeries
you know what? You got to
happened
take
during
responsible for what
his
happened in your
presidency.
administration.
Oh, whoops. Oh, whoops. You know what? You got to take responsibility for what happened in your administration. I'm Donald J. Trump and I approve this message, because that is going to be hung around her neck like an anvil over the next 19 days. We're not going back. We got to turn the page. On the other hand, you got to take responsibility for what happened during your administration.
Yeah, no surgeries happened in his presidency.
It's in
So
black and white.
would you still advocate for using taxpayer dollars for gender reassignment
I will
surgeries?
follow the law, just as I
Well, you have a
think
say
Donald
in
Trump would
this.
say he did.
You would have a say as president.
Like I said, I think he spent $20 million on those ads, trying to create a sense of fear in the voters, because he actually has no plan in this election that is about focusing on the needs of the American people.
She's complaining about what he's spending. She's raised over $1 billion. She's mad he's spending it because she knows the ad is effective.
With SRN News, I'm Greg Clugston in Washington.
My plans for our economy would strengthen our economy. His would make them weaker,
Why do you
would
think more
ignite
people
inflation and invite a recession by the middle of next year. Those are the facts.
Why do you think more people say they trust him on the economy, then they trust you.
I think that when you look at an analysis of our plans for what we would do as President of the United States, it has been clear to those who study and understand how economic policy works that moving forward, because I do believe the American people are ready to turn the page on the divisiveness and the type of rhetoric that has come out of Donald Trump. People are ready to chart a new way forward, and they want a president who has a plan for the future and a plan that is sound and will strengthen forward, because I do believe the American people are ready to turn the page on the divisiveness and the type of rhetoric that has come out of Donald Trump. People are ready to chart a new way.
Most people can't pay their bills. Well, the U.S. economy is clearly moving into uncertain territory. That's why more Christians are turning to gold just for their peace of mind. I'm Lance Wallner, Christian news analyst with a 30-year track record of predicting trends. The Bible tells us that gold is a time-tested store of value that can protect your God-given assets through almost anything, including America's historic debt bubble. And here's the good news. You can own gold for your 401k or IRA. My friends at Birch Gold Group can help you buy gold for your retirement account, tax-free and penalty-free. To learn more, text the word FAITH to 989898 for an info kit from Birch Gold that's entirely free, zero cost or obligation. Text that next step right now and take it. Text FAITH to the number 989898 for your free info kit. That's FAITH to 98.
News, opinion, passion. Here, 98.9 FM, The Answer, anywhere you go. With The Answer's mobile app at 989theanswer.com. Also on your smart speakers, TuneIn, or iHeart.
The Caribbean is calling. Dennis Prager here, and I invite you to join me on a Caribbean cruise this November. Imagine 9 days of basking in the sun surrounded by the stunning beauty of a tropical paradise. We'll cruise the vibrant islands of Half Moon Cay, Curacao, Bonaire, Aruba, and more. Stroll through Curaçao's iconic pastel-colored shops and snorkel in Bonaire's world-class coral reefs. You'll enjoy some of the most delicious cuisine aboard Holland America's Rotterdam, a fantastic destination itself. This riveting shows and breathtaking views. We'll be joined by a special guest, Sean McDowell, and we'll both share fresh insights. We'll have dialogue on religion, current events, happiness, future in America in light of the election. November 29 to December 8th. Secure your spot today by calling 855-565-5519 or book online at Prager Cruise.
Planning for retirement is no small task. If you don't know where to start, join Rodney Peters of Peters Wealth Group every Saturday at 10 and 2 for Retire Ready Ohio. Rodney shares helpful tips and strategies that just might change the course of your retirement. Listen every Saturday at 10 and 2, Retire Ready Ohio, with Rodney Peters of Peters Wealth Group. The firm offers insurance services. Investment advisory services are offered through Peters Wealth Group, a state-registered investment advisor.
He's one of the top 10 radio hosts in the country. He never varnishes his opinions. And now, more than ever, you need to spend part of your day with a healthy dose of the Mike Gallagher Show. Weekday mornings from 9 to 11 on 98.9 FM, The Answer.
I have a busy afternoon, and that busyness includes several visits to people who have expressed an interest in new flooring at brucehooley.com. Go to brucehooley.com, click flooring in the upper right-hand corner of the page if you're looking for new carpet or for durable, virtually indestructible, luxury vinyl plank flooring. It looks like wood, gray, brown, mixture of gray and brown. What if I need tile, Bruce? No, you don't need tile. Luxury vinyl plank flooring comes in patterns that look exactly like ceramic tile and more durable and easy to install. You don't have to take your old tile out. You don't have to take your old hardwood floor out. It's very thin, very durable. So love to help you with that, or with a carpet remodel of bedrooms, of your living room, whatever it may be. We will install it faster, and we will, I promise, save you money over big box stores. We are a nimble operation, love to serve, with our own installers who do a phenomenal job. Go to brucehooley.com, click flooring in the upper right-hand corner of the page. brucehooley.com, flooring in the upper right-hand corner of the page. Well, if the city administration is not going to take care of the juvenile car theft problem in Columbus, it appears that at least one of the citizens of the capital city is going to. Last night, A 21-year-old man who lives at the 3100 block of Azelda Street said he looked out his front window and saw a juvenile breaking into his car. He yelled at the teen, and the teen had a gun. And so the man got his own gun and fired at the teen. They chased him down the street, and there was a shootout. Many people witnessed this, called police. They said that they saw 2 or 3 teens in dark clothing fleeing through backyards, and an armed man, this must be the 21-year-old, who had no shirt or shoes chasing someone down the street. The juvenile was seen clutching his upper chest or torso as he fled. Fool around and find out, young man. Police have requested neighbors' video doorbells, which captured part of the chase. Guess who got charged? Yes, the homeowner. The man who shot the juvenile was charged with felonious assault. They've set his bond hearing at $500,000. Utter stupidity in this city. Utter stupidity. If you're not going to stop this problem, the citizens are going to take it into their own hands to solve this problem. And it's ridiculous that this guy is charged, because he had no way of knowing this kid wasn't going to fire back on him. What happened to stand your ground laws? I know you'll say, well, you can't chase him. So you're just powerless. Oh, he's just gonna break into my car, and then I'm gonna have to file the insurance claim, and I'm gonna have to pay for it. Or maybe I got something valuable in my car. Maybe I got a laptop in my car. It's got all my business records on it, all my bank accounts on it. Yeah, I'm just gonna let him take it. Nope. No thanks. This is not how an orderly society functions. Which is why, of course, it's not how the city of Columbus functions. Speaking of an orderly society, we will not have one if Kamala Harris is elected president. The only time Bret Baier got to the economy last night was asking her about why so many Americans think she's doing a crappy job and Joe Biden have done a crappy job on the economy. If things are so good as you keep telling us, why do most of America think you're doing a lousy job? Here's that exchange.
My plans for our economy would strengthen our economy. His would make them weaker.
Why do you think that?
You notice my plans would. I have a plan that will. What's in the plan? She never says. She just says, I have a plan. Stating you have a plan is not actually proving to us that you have a plan. You have to tell us what is in it. The parts that you haven't stolen from Trump, like no tax on tips, like anything you've come up with from your vast experience in the White House the last 3.5 years. All right, here we go. One more time. Sorry, I interrupted.
For our economy would strengthen our economy. His would make them weaker.
Why do you
would
think more
ignite
people
inflation and invite a recession by the middle of next year. Those are the facts.
Why do you
No,
think
they're
more
not.
people say they trust him on the economy than they trust you?
I think that when you look at an analysis of our plans for what we would do as president of the United States,
what's in it?
It has been clear to those who study and understand how economic policy works that moving forward, because I do believe the American people are ready to turn the page on the divisiveness.
Filibuster, 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 stall, stall, stall. How much time? She's like mentally, you can tell she's thinking, how much time do we have left? She's looking at her staff like, oh, throw in the towel, please. Then, after whiffing on this question twice, once on The View, once on Colbert, Bret Baier puts it on a tee for her a third time to say, all right, new way forward, not going back, turning the page. How? What would differentiate a Kamala Harris presidency from a Joe Biden presidency?
It's interesting you said turn the page, Madam Vice President. You were asked on 2 different shows last week what, if anything, you would do differently than President Biden. Here's what you said.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
Under a Harris administration, what would the major changes be and what would stay the same?
Sure. Well, I mean, I'm obviously not Joe Biden.
I know.
And so that would be one change in terms of, but also I think it's important to say with, 28 days to go, I'm not Donald Trump.
So You're not Joe Biden, you're not Donald Trump, but nothing comes to mind that you would do differently?
Let me be very clear. My presidency will not be a continuation of Joe Biden's presidency.
How? Tell us how. Stating facts. Oh, everybody says that there'll be a recession. My plan. I won't be the same as what? How? Could you give us an example, please? No, you can't. Of course you can't. Because your head is an empty vacuum. It's a storage locker filled with nothing.
And like every new president that comes in to office, I will bring my life experiences, my professional experiences, and fresh and new ideas. I represent a new generation of leadership.
But it's a big secret what the new generation of leadership will bring, except it's not. It's not a big secret. It'll be taxpayer-funded trans surgeries. It'll be the decriminalization of illegally entering the United States of America. It'll be exorbitant taxes, including on unrealized capital gains. So sorry about your luck, Bruce. You bought your house in 2002. You bought it for like $180,000. And now, because development is booming in your area and you've got acreage, it's worth maybe 3 times that. Guess what? As your reward for making a savvy investment and paying it off, you get to pay taxes on it every year, even though you haven't recognized the gains yet. Tom Cotton, senator from Arkansas, touched upon by referring to a line from the movie Chariots of Fire, something that perfectly applies to Kamala Harris in the vapid, vacuous way. She stalls, obfuscates, and never answers anything with specificity. Why is that, Tom Cotton? Quote Chariots of Fire and explain it to us.
Can't put in what God left out. I'm confident that the people on Kamala Harris' staff are the best and smartest political operatives on offer in the Democratic Party today. David Plouffe, for instance, he's a made man. He was the campaign manager for Barack Obama in 2008. Did they use the bubble wrap strategy with Barack Obama in 2008? No, of course not. Because Barack Obama, for all of his liberal views, was a skilled politician who could handle any setting, any format, any form. If they thought Kamala Harris could handle tough interviews, and I don't even consider last night to really be a tough interview. Brett Baer was just a fair interview, asking her about her own words in the past. If they thought she could do that, then they would be doing it.
Exactly right. If they thought she could do it, they would be doing it. They're doing it because it's desperate. She's in desperation mode. Her operation in Pennsylvania is falling apart. She's losing momentum in the polls incrementally because this is a split election and you've got morons like Jessica Tarloff who are so invested in butchering children in the womb that they can't see what is obvious right before their faces. Here's Jessica Tarloff, who I loathe, giving her spin last night on what a great job Kamala Harris did.
What I did think about the interview was, first and foremost, showing up matters. And the Harris campaign is digging in on he is unstable, he is erratic, he is unfit, and he's hiding from the tough stuff. He's hiding from Brett Baer. But I'm going to sit down with Brett Baer. And she came off as very competent. The image that was painted of her as a cackling moron, frankly, was nowhere to be seen in that interview. She was in control of herself. She took a moment when she needed it. She said, give me a second to finish that. And I thought she came up, if there are undecideds out there, they are watching our channel and they saw a strong person.
So Jessica Tarloff is giving her points for not in the interview coming off like a cackling moron. Well, I will say this, Jessica. It is very unusual for someone to laugh through their own execution, through their own suicide. Most people don't find that humorous.
Sunshine, a little bit warmer this afternoon. High today 61. Chilly night tonight. A couple of frosty spots in the area. Low 38. And then sunny for tomorrow. The high at 70. Sunny and warm on Saturday. The high Saturday afternoon 75. And then sunshine, a terrific day on Sunday. High Sunday afternoon, 76. Sunny clouds, nice day on
Juicy
Monday.
2 days
Thanks.
will determine whether we have a president of the United States who actually.
Here we go.
When did you first notice that President Biden's mental faculties appeared diminished?
Will say many times, based on my observations, and I think the observations of many, Donald Trump is increasingly unstable, and as has been said by the people who have worked closely with him, even when he was president.
Do you think Donald Trump?
Frankly, exhausted of Brett.
More than
People are
70% of people
exhausted.
tell the country is on the wrong track. They say the country is on the wrong track. If it's on the wrong track, that track follows 3.5 years of you being vice president and President Biden being president. That is.
Disagree with him. This is talked about locking America.
He's not well. You say headed. You say now
He's unstable.
ProView Remodeling, Ohio's #1 choice in sunrooms, windows, doors, decks, sidings, patios, porches, basements, and bathroom remodels. Call ProView Remodeling today and get 25% off or 60 months, 0 interest. That's right, 60 months, 0 interest. Call or text 7 days a week, 614-756-3140. You win with ProView Remodeling, 614-756-3140. Check us out at ProViewRemodeling.com.
Bad decisions limit future options. Make enough bad decisions and you will destroy your life. Listen to The Flot Line with your host Rick Hughes every Sunday morning at 8 here on 98.9 FM The Answer. The Flot Line describes a main line of resistance in your soul built on God's Word. Every Sunday for 30 minutes of inspiration, motivation, education, all without manipulation. That's The Flot Line with Rick Hughes. Sunday mornings at 8, right here on 98.9 FM The Answer.
Firefighter Daniel Foley assisted in rescue efforts at Ground Zero, but Daniel couldn't have known that his heroism would cost him his life more than 18 years later. His death, like so many others, resulted from illnesses caused by the toxic dust from the Twin Towers collapse on 9/11. Victims and first responders are still suffering, yet children in this nation are growing up unaware of America's darkest day. The Tunnel to Towers 9/11 Institute is helping educators teach children about 9/11. These lessons are based on first-person accounts and are designed to meet academic standards. The 9/11 Institute offers the Discovering Heroes book series, a speakers bureau, an exhibit with artifacts, and memorial scholarships for children of program recipients. Help our nation keep its promise to never forget. Donate $11 a month to the Tunnel to Towers at t2t.org. That's the letter T, the number 2, t.org.
All right, it's a little early to plan for post-Christmas activities, but never too early, particularly when free tickets are involved. And they are involved. If you go to 9890answer.com, you can register to win one of the 10 pairs of tickets that we will give away to see Trans-Siberian Orchestra at Nationwide Arena on December the 26th. What will they perform, Bruce? Well, they will be performing their new Christmas show, which is called the Lost Christmas Eve Tour. Now, of course, with Trans-Siberian Orchestra, if you've gone before, you're going to get the stunning showmanship, the laser trickeration, and all those other things. So, I mean, you can go and pay and take your chances with tickets, but my guess is you'd rather do it for free than do it by paying. So in order to do so, you need to enter the contest, and hopefully you'll be one of the 10 who wins a pair of tickets to see Trans-Siberian Orchestra at Nationwide Arena on December the 26th. Go to 9890answer.com to enter. A programming note today, although I hate to program against my buddy Jack Windsor, who does a great job. We will have game 3 today, correct, Jeff, of the Cleveland Guardians, Indians, and the New York Yankees. That'll be like 5:10 first pitch. It struck me the other night watching the Guardians play the Yankees that rooting for the Guardians is like being a Purdue football fan, where you're just hoping to get to the Big Ten championship game. That's like a great year for you. You get to the Big Ten championship game. Sure, you get your butt kicked by Michigan or Ohio State, but you get a T-shirt out of it, and you remember it as a phenomenal year. That's the ceiling for the tribesmen. I'm sorry, they're not the tribesmen, the guardsmen. Maybe bring your bats to today's game. That'd be a great idea. Now, while I have not enjoyed watching the Guardians go down in an 0-2 hole against the Yankees, screaming toward a 4-1 series loss, I must say that my favorite part of last night's Kamala Harris interview with Brett Baer was the part where she started to talk about Donald Trump being unfit for office. Because as she started to go down this road, it was like Brett Baer and I were simpatico on the same mental wavelength. Because you know how you're watching an NFL game on Sunday? Say, look, stick with the city of Cleveland. You're watching the Browns play on a Sunday, and Deshaun Watson goes back to pass, and you see from his backside, from his blind side, you see the defensive end come around the edge, and Deshaun Watson is about to get obliterated, but he has no idea that the guy is coming. In the role of Deshaun Watson last night was Kamala Harris when she started to talk about Donald Trump being unstable and unfit for office, because I knew Brett Baer was going to be the on-rushing defensive end, blammo, with the what about Joe Biden's mental fitness? So enjoy that moment from last night's interview.
You say now
He's
unstable.
He is unstable, Brett.
He's not well. You say he's mentally not stable.
Watch out, here comes the end.
Let me ask you this. You told many interviewers that Joe Biden was on his game, that ran around circles on the staff. When did you first notice that President Biden's mental faculties appeared diminished?
Joe Biden, I have watched from the Oval Office to the Situation Room, and he has the judgment and the experience to do exactly what he has done in making very important decisions on behalf of the American people.
There were no concerns raised.
Right? Joe Biden is not on the ballot.
I understand.
And Donald Trump
But
is.
you talked about it.
And Donald Trump
After George Clooney said within a few minutes of talking to President Biden at a fundraiser that he thought this was not the same Joe Biden that we saw on the debate stage.
Donald Trump is on the ballot.
I understand. You met with him at least once a week for 3.5 years. You didn't have any concerns?
I think the American people have a concern about Donald Trump, which is why the people who know him best, including leaders of our national...
Blah, 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 blah. No answer. No answer to that, because she's caught. And she knows she's caught. And her stuttering and stammering and stalling tells you she's caught. I wish, first of all, let me get to her. Let me get to what she attempted to rebuff Brett Baer's on-rushing quarterback flattening question was. She said, I've seen Joe Biden from the Oval Office to the Situation Room. Now, I've been to the White House. I know it's big. From the Oval Office to the Situation Room, how big can that space be? And maybe it's on a different floor. Maybe it's 2 floors. They have elevators in the White House. Joe shuffling off from the Oval Office to the Situation Room. What does that prove? Nothing. And then I love her saying, he has the experience to do exactly what he has done. Is there another human being on the planet to which that sentence would also not apply? My friend Bill has the experience to do exactly what he has done. So does my friend Jane and my friend Marjorie. And I mean, like, what a stupid answer. He has the experience to do exactly what he has done. Now, It's the only unkind thing I'll say about Brett Baer. Because while we were simpatico on the question, and I knew, here comes Brett Baer around the end, unabated to the quarterback. Ref better blow this dead before Kamala ends up a puddle on the turf. I wish Brett Baer had closed the circle. When she said, Donald Trump's on the ballot, I wish Brett Baer had said, but Joe Biden is in office right now with the world blowing up in Ukraine, in the Middle East, possibly in the Indo-Pacific. He's in office right now as the commander-in-chief. He's there because you refuse to act on what we all saw June the 27th in his first presidential debate with Donald Trump, which, by the way, if he's so adept shuffling from the Oval Office to the Situation Room, why are you sitting in front of me right now as the Democratic nominee instead of him? The safety of American citizens depends upon an American commander-in-chief functioning at peak efficiency at all hours of the day. His own staff has said, well, he's better between 10 and 4. Who isn't? And Baer didn't close that circle, and he should have. You have the power, Vice President Harris, to invoke the 25th Amendment. So either you believe he's more qualified for the job, because otherwise you would invoke the 25th Amendment. And if in fact that is why you have not invoked the 25th Amendment, because he is more qualified for the job, then why are you sitting in front of me right now attempting to take the job that he already has and that he said he wanted to do for 4 more years? Brett Baer eased off before gently pushing Kamala Harris to the ground. He could have blasted her between his shoulder blades with that question, and he should have. Because nobody thinks about this. We have a brain-dead, mush-brain moron in the White House to be succeeded by a brain-dead, mush-brain moron running to succeed him. The future of our nation hinges on us not allowing her to do that. I cannot fathom how bad she will be as president. I will make a prediction right now. I will make this prediction right now as my old buddy, the former Blue Jackets play-by-play man, Jeff Rimmer, used to say, without fear of contradiction. If she wins the presidency, she will either not run for re-election in 2028 or she will lose 48 of 50 states. She will be that bad. It will not take an Afghanistan botched withdrawal for her to become unpopular. She will be the most hated American president ever inside of 6 months.
Americans now have more credit card debt than at any time in history, owing a staggering $1.3 trillion collectively. What happens when most people can't pay their bills? Well, the U.S. economy is clearly moving into uncertain territory. That's why more Christians are turning to gold just for their peace of mind. I'm Lance Wallnau, Christian news analyst with a 30-year track record of predicting trends. The Bible tells us that gold is a time-tested store of value that can protect your God-given assets through almost anything, including America's historic debt bubble. And here's the good news. You can own gold through your 401k or IRA. My friends at Birch Gold Group can help you buy gold for your retirement account, tax-free and penalty-free. To learn more, text the word faith to 989898 for an info kit from Birch Gold that's entirely free, zero cost or obligation. Text that next step right now and take it. Text faith to the number 989898 for your free info kit. That's faith to 989898.
Find us at 9890theanswer.com. Download our apps and stream us 24/7. WTOH and WTOH HD1, Upper Arlington, Columbus.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com.
Yes.
I'm James.
Yep.
An independent panel investigating the attempted assassination of former President Trump. Butler, Pennsylvania campaign.
So sorry. I'm so fired up about her stupid answer.
Former Homeland Security Secretary Janet Napolitano.
This is a zero-fail mission. For any failure endangers not only the life of the protectee, but also the fundamentals of our government itself. Without these recommended reforms, we believe another Butler can and will happen again.
The 52-page report recommended bringing in new outside leadership and refocusing on its protective mission. Also at townhall.com, the tides of the election turning against Vice President Harris. Bernie Bennett reports.
During the late summer and heading into fall, Harris appeared to be the candidate with the momentum, with Democrats comparing her candidacy to former President Obama's 2008 run. But recent polls suggest that energy has leveled off. While Harris still has a narrow edge over former President Trump nationally and in several battleground states, she has been losing ground. Poll numbers from Decision Desk HQ, for example, show that she had lost 4 percentage points in the past month. In the past 2 weeks, there have been a slight trend toward Trump in some of the battleground states. In Wisconsin, for example, Harris went from leading Trump by 2 points to being tied. In Michigan, she went from leading by 1 point to trailing by 1. And in Pennsylvania, Trump closed a 1-point gap to pull even with her. Bernie Bennett reporting.
The Israeli military looking into whether Hamas's top leader Yahya Sinwar was killed in military operation in Gaza. Authorities conducting DNA tests on the body to determine if it is him. The military said that 3 terrorists were killed during operations in Gaza. On Wall Street, the Dow is up 139 points, the NASDAQ composite adding 127. More at townhall.com.
Sunshine, a little bit warmer this afternoon. High today 61. Clear, chilly night tonight. A couple of frosty spots in the area, low 38. And then sunny for tomorrow, the high at 70. Sunny and warm on Saturday, the high Saturday afternoon 75. And then sunshine, a terrific day on Sunday. High Sunday afternoon 76. Sun and clouds, a nice day on Monday. High Monday at 75. I'm Steve Williams on 98.9 FM, The Answer.
Hi, I'm Paul George with Keller Williams Greater Columbus Realty, host of the Paul George Real Estate Show, broadcasting every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. on 98.9 The Answer. Using over 30 years of trusted real estate agent experience in Central Ohio, I'll share invaluable insights into the ever-evolving local real estate market, provide you with current trends from industry experts who will share their wisdom on the art of buying and selling homes. Join me every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. right here on 98.9 FM, The Answer.
With SRN Sports, I'm Jeremy House. Major League Baseball, the LA Dodgers take a 2-1 lead in the National League Championship Series by blanking the New York Mets 8-0.
Los Angeles scored 200 runs in the second, taking advantage of catcher Francisco Alvarez's throwing error. Will Smith and Tommy Edman drove in the runs off Mets starter and loser Luis Severino. The Dodgers then doubled their lead to 4-0 in the sixth with Kike Hernandez's 2-run homer off Reed Garrett. Shohei Ohtani then sealed it with a towering 3-run homer in the eighth off Tyler McGill to make it 7-0 LA.
That's correspondent Tom Merriam reporting. Meanwhile, the New York Yankees and Cleveland Guardians play Game 3 of the American League Championship Series this afternoon in Cleveland. New York holding a 2-0 lead in that series. NFL news, Devontae Adams expects to make his debut for the New York Jets on Sunday night at Pittsburgh. The star wide receiver was acquired from Las Vegas on Tuesday. This is SRN Sports. In the NHL, the Boston Bruins pick on a struggling opponent.
The Bruins held off a late charge from Colorado to defeat the Avalanche 5-3. Boston coach Jim Montgomery.
Best team game we've had so far this year, and I thought it was a complete 60-minute effort. You know, they're a really good team, and they're going to have their moments, but I thought that I really liked our boys.
The Bees got 5 goals from 5 guys, but it was Charlie Coyle's power play tally in the first period that gave his team the lead for good at 2-1. Meanwhile, the tough times continue for Colorado. With the defeat, the Avs opened the season with 4 consecutive defeats for the first time since 1998-99. Denver.
Other winners included Pittsburgh.
All right, if you want to watch hour number 2, it'll be on the Bruce Hooley Show Facebook page or on the 98.9 The Answer Facebook page. I got to end hour number 1. I apologize. Good luck to the Guardians today. I hope I'm underestimating you, but nothing you've shown me the past 2 games. Really nothing you've shown me since game, what, won against the Tigers. Well, I guess game 4 and game 5. Game 4 was great. Game 5, we got the big grand slam. But you got to score runs. You got to throw strikes. You can't walk them. You got to pitch from ahead in the count. That's the recipe. That's the recipe. You can't do that, you got no chance to win the series. You can't walk Yankee batters. You've got to get ahead in the count so you don't have to throw fastballs in the meat zone. You can't drop pop-ups. Duh. Thanks, Captain Obvious. And it would help to like get ahead and put some pressure on them. Okay? And Stephen Vogt, quit over managing. Quit over managing. Eli Morgan gets out of an inning on 7 pitches. Maybe it's a good idea to let him pitch the next inning instead of bringing in the left-handed Joe Sobrowski. Little engine that couldn't. 5'10" today. Good luck.